everybody, welcome to the backyard today. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're not necessarily going to talk about food, but we're going to talk about the things we use to prepare food outside. Today we're going to talk about Dutch ovens. Now this is Jeff's way. I do a Dutch oven. It's my ideas. It's not necessarily right, wrong, or textbook to some other standards. This is the way I take care of a Dutch oven. When you buy a Dutch oven, and this is a 10-inch Dutch oven. When you buy a Dutch oven from the store, um, it comes pre-seasoned, but we don't really know how it's pre-seasoned or what it's pre-seasoned with. So when I get them brand new, they have a tendency to be a little rough inside. I take a orbital sander with some 80 grit sandpaper. I run it around the inside and then put like a 120 to 200 grit paper on it, run it around again, and then I re-season the Dutch oven using grapeseed oil or olive oil in the oven in the house, and that's how I re-season the oven. You want it to be really, really smooth. So when you're looking at a Dutch oven in the store, get it out of the box, look around inside. If it's real rough and it feels like a gravel road, folks, it's probably not the best Dutch oven you need to be buying. Go get another one that's you can work with really well. But that's my opinion. It's not everybody's. Now, this is a normal deep Dutch oven or a shallow oven. They make them that are deep. The difference is if you have something in here that's going to rise as you cook, you don't want it to get real close to the lid, and it gives you some extra room. A deep can be used in place of a shallow oven, but a shallow can't be used in place of a deep. All right, so that's just a little run of the mill on Dutch ovens. This is a camp oven or an outside Dutch oven. They make these that are enameled. They have a domed lid on them like this. They don't allow you to put coals on top. You need to get an oven that has a flat lid, which has this lip, which allows you to stack coals up on top. All right, so that's just a little quick 101 if you want to call it that. Now, cooking in a Dutch oven outside, you're going to want to use coals. Now, I didn't build a fire. We're going to use some cook towels to simulate coals, for lack of a way to put it. Now, you notice these have legs. So you typically put your coals around the outside of a Dutch oven. So you would put your coals around the Dutch oven, just like we're doing these cook towels. Okay? But what's happening, most of this heat is coming here. It's not coming underneath. If you push coals underneath this oven the way it is right now, they're going to touch the bottom of the oven, and you're going to scorch what's in your oven. So I recommend to use a trivet. There's all different kinds of trivets out there. This happens to be a 4-inch trivet. This picks your Dutch oven up and allows, when you put this ring of coals around it, it allows you room for the heat to not only do the sides, but do underneath. It will allow you to put coals underneath here. If you're doing something that you want to be high or simulate a high on your stove, you can put coals underneath there like this. I typically put them around the outside of the trivet. The distance between this ring and this is your heat. You can get out here farther. Okay, it's just going to take you longer to cook. And if the wind's blowing, if you've got things going on, these are ways that you can help regulate that. You might have one side close, one side far away. It just depends on the situation that you're cooking. But we're talking about bottom heat right now. So if you you put your coals around, you're going to get things that are going to simulate this. You're going to have a bump or a high spot, which is a hot spot in your coals. So periodically, you need to rotate your Dutch oven. This allows this hot spot to move around the oven as you cook so that all of this heat doesn't just burn this part of your dish. Now, it depends on what you're cooking as to how often you turn it. Breads, pastries, cakes, things like that are more sensitive to heat, and you have to watch that a little closer. If you're doing something like roasting a chicken, or you're cooking meat inside here, you're doing a chili or a stew. I don't typically do those in a Dutch oven, but if you are, these are not as critical, but you still need to rotate your Dutch oven. Now, we've been talking about bottom heat. Let's talk about top heat. So you'll do the same thing. You'll put your coals up here on top, okay? The way I do this is once I get all my coals around the outside and around the top, I go approximately one hand width up, or about 4 to 5 inches, and I hold my hand over the Dutch oven. If I can hold it there for 5 seconds, I'm probably about the right temperature. If I can't hold it 5 seconds, I'm probably too hot. If I can hold it longer than 5 seconds, I need to add more heat. Now, you got your coals up here on the top. So let's say you're doing a cake, or you're doing biscuits, and you lift your lid off to look in there as you're cooking, because you also want to rotate the lid the opposite direction you rotate the bottom. But you look in here and you see the biscuit on this part of the Dutch oven is getting brown, and none of the rest of them are getting brown. You can do what they call target heat. I can pull the heat away from that area and put it over here. So this area will not get as much heat as this where it's coals, and you can get an even brown. You can do a ring around the outside if the center is getting done. There's multiple ways you can do that. You can cook with coals on the top and none on the bottom as you finish your dish, or you can do the opposite. It's all these little situations. It's hard to give instruction the way I do Dutch ovens. It's hard to give instructions without cooking something. And I recommend the first time you get a Dutch oven, if you're new to Dutch oven cooking, go buy the cheapest package of biscuits that you can buy at the store. Put them in your Dutch oven and cook. Okay, the first time you're probably going to burn them, or it's going to take you hours to cook them. But it's an inexpensive way for you to learn how to do the Dutch oven. The best thing for Dutch oven cooking is practice, 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 practice. Okay, and use a good quality hardwood coal. Okay, if you don't, you're not going to get the success that you have the other kind of ways. So that's kind of generally the heat. Now let's talk about the inside. We got a lot of people who cook in a Dutch oven, and they'll use a pan. They'll put whatever they're cooking in here, put that off in the Dutch oven, and they'll close it up with the lid on it, and they'll cook. Some people do that because they don't want to clean the Dutch oven. Some people want to do that because it's easier to get whatever it is out of here than it is out of the Dutch oven sometimes. I go 95% of the time, whatever I'm cooking, I go straight on the iron. If you have a well-seasoned and well-kept Dutch oven, the cleanup is nothing. It's actually about the same as cleaning this pan, except for the fact this might go in your dishwasher, but I don't know anybody that has that on the truck wagon. But the cleanup's going to be about the same. Some hot water and a rag, get anything that's left on out of here, dry it, put a little oil on it, and you're good. Now, I will put an insert in my Dutch oven if I'm doing something special. The design of the cake pan, or this happens to be a spring pan, so I'm doing something special, I will put that in here. Now, a Dutch oven simulates the oven in your house almost identical, folks. So what I'll do is put a horseshoe or something underneath this to allow it to have airflow up underneath. Because then what I'm doing is I'm using this oven, putting all my coals around here, and I'm heating the air up inside the Dutch oven, which in turn is baking what's in this. But I like to do it the traditional way and go straight on the cast iron, folks. So I know that's a little quick. I know it's a little rough and it's a little difficult. We'll try to talk more about Dutch oven cooking, cleaning of Dutch ovens, and some other things. I am by no means an expert on this. Okay? I have learned from a lot of people. I've learned from trial and error. I've made some mistakes. And I'm trying to share with you what I know. It's very, very hard to teach somebody to do this without a live fire and you actually putting what we're cooking inside here. You do that one time, all of this will make sense to you, I guarantee you. So folks, just not a cooking video, but a video hopefully that answers some questions that I've received about cast iron cooking. Now this isn't a Dutch oven. We ain't touching on a skillet or anything else, folks. But get you a good quality Dutch oven and you'll be fine. Take your time, air to the slow, as you do, as I told you in the smoking on the briskets. If your coals are too far out, you'll still cook. It's just going to take you a long time to get there. So bring them up here, hold your hand over it. That regulates your temperature. So folks, I hope this is somewhat helpful to you. We've got a very cloudy, drizzly day, and we're actually very happy that we have some rain in the area. And folks, we just ask that you always enjoy everything you do, especially enjoy your food.